I knew that's the only thing you're gonna say. Like, what else you gonna tell me?
Okay.
You know? So I was like, anything I already know.
Well, you know, we have to bring this up because my agent says for me not to try to. She always says don't pussyfoot around. She told me I've been pussyfooting around a lot with the interview, so she told me to be more direct. Now we know Nigeria is not the most welcoming place for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
Now, as an LGBT person, were you ever involved in any of the, you know, the things going on in Nigeria with the LGBT community?
Yeah, kind of, but I never knew what LGBT was.
Okay.
Yeah, and
He didn't know what it was until he came to Canada, I guess. And he then educated, because I asked him one time, do you think that trans women are women? He said no, before he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't convince they were women, but after coming to Canada and seeing the education, he realized, he said, well, he acknowledged them as women and he respects them for who they are.
Okay. Well, you know, Katanya, they have an LGBT thriving community in Barbados, even though I know it's very dangerous for trans women. And now, when you first met him, did you really have any apprehension about him being from Nigeria, knowing that you, as an activist, would have already felt and had some experience about the culture in Nigeria and how they treat the LGBT community?
Yes, I did, especially when he slept over that night. I didn't sleep at all. I was like, in case this guy try anything, he's going down. At that time, I lived with my sister, my brother, well, my best friend and her husband. I called her my sister, my brother, and they were asleep in the other room. And I told her, and I told them, both of them, well, I invited this guy over. I haven't told him the tea yet, but when he comes, but that night, I didn't sleep, period. Because I was like, if he try anything, he's going down tonight. But at the end of the day, I figured out he was all asleep and snored. And then when he told me his name was Kelvin, I was like, this guy, you know these people, his name is not Kelvin. How is he from Africa and has a name like Kelvin? And I must admit, I went snooping in his wallet and saw his ID.
Well, that, you know, sometimes it's best to know the person you're sleeping with. And sometimes it's best to know the person you're sleeping with. And, you know, sometimes we find that out the hard way when it's too late and things happen. And a lot, as you know, Katanya, over the last couple of years, a lot of the trans women have been murdered by men who say that they didn't know the tea.
Exactly, 100%.
So it's a good thing now that the girls are starting to recognize, to tell the men that this is, I was born male, but I identify as female, and this is how I feel, this is how I live, and either you want to be with me or you don't. Now, we are going to always have that issue until people are really educated. But the statistic says that black men between the ages of 18 and 35 are the ones that commit the most murders of trans women. Why do you think that is, Calvin? Is it because young black men are really unsure of who they are, or they're trying to be macho?
They're trying to be macho.
Trying to be macho. They have a lot to prove to the boys. I'm a man and that's it. And even though I like this man, you ain't gonna know it's a man, and I introduce him to my family or my friends unless I'm for sure that this person can pass, or because you know, in the long run, all of this comes out.
It does. Eventually.
All of this comes out mainly when the two of you start to fall in love, and you start to open up about the truth about your lives. Because sometimes we conceal those things. I was in a long-time relationship for a very long time, and you know that, Katanya.
Yeah, you did.
And I love Johnny very much, but Johnny kept a lot of secrets from his parents about me. And that's not what broke us up. What broke us up is just that I decided that my career came first. And sometimes you just have to do what's best for you.
Sure.
And now the two of you are getting married. Who said I love you first?
He did. He's not. He's nervous, but it's okay.
Now, Kelvin, have you told your parents in Nigeria that you're in love with a trans woman? Oh, okay. So we have that conversation to come. There'll be a part 2 to the Stephanie Steele show, and with Kelvin and Katanya. Now, Katanya, I know that you express yourself and you're very open and honest. I'm sure you've told your friends and your family about Kelvin.
Yes, my mom talks. Actually, my mom always calls him Sunday. Ask me where's Sunday. Tell him tomorrow's Monday. So she does it all the time, every time. And yeah, my family and my friends know about him because he's part of me. And Katanya, Katanya's face is always out there. But I try not to put him out there so much because I am very popular, as I should say. Well, people know Katanya. When everyone says Katanya, well, they know it's me. And since I work in the LGBTQ community, for the LGBT community, I'm just out there.
So, do you love him, Katanya?
I do. I do.
Kelvin, do you love her?
Sure, I do.
Okay. So, now, who did the proposal first? Who did the marriage proposal first? Okay. Now, is this something you really are invested in, Katanya? Knowing that you come from being part of the community and you're very active and you've been a performer and entertainer. And sometimes entertainers, it's hard to separate love, marriage, work, activism, and entertainment. This is a very difficult thing to give up for stability and home life.
Honestly, it is, but I told him anything that I am doing, if it's my career or what the case may be, just be behind me and push me. Don't try to restrict me, because if you're, like for instance, he's going to be a model and he did a photo shoot. I pushed him to do that. If there's anything to enhance his life and better himself, I'm going to get behind it, because he knows when he's not going down the right path, my mouth comes out and he doesn't like it. So, now he's happy. So yeah.
Now the two of you, and now Calvin, you're a young guy. Now, and Katanya, you're young as well. I mean, I'm trying to understand the dynamics of children, building a life together, family, church, and mainly from where you're from, Calvin. This is why I'm focusing so much on Nigeria. Because we've been trying to get them to open up and help with the LGBT, make things a little bit better for the LGBT community in Nigeria, in a sense by showing them that LGBT people have human rights and that they deserve the same rights as everybody else. Now, did you ever see any of the violence in Nigeria with the LGBT community?
Yeah. I see them on Instagram. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So now, the two of you, once you figured out what was going to happen with. Sorry, we're not having a fire. There's a fire, all right.
There's a fire, but we're not having a fire.
Now, the two of you. Now, Calvin, what do you think is going to happen? You're in Canada now, a place that's more free and open and somewhat loving and supporting in a sense, but yet we still have our struggles and our way of life that sometimes we might not always get what we want, because we'll always be fighting for our rights, I think. Now, what do you plan on? Do you plan on taking Katanya back and introducing her to your family, your friends in Nigeria?
Yeah, sure. I would love to do that, but like what you said about Nigeria, right? So, like you said, you're trying to like make like LGBTQ like in Nigeria, whatever. But I know it's gonna be hard, but it's what I can still do. I can take that.
It's a shame that we say this all the time, but black people sometimes can be their own worst enemy.